Alright, y'all. This is going to be a live demo how you can create a cluster and configure that using the AMI I've created, and it's a refresh version of the older video using the AWS Academy Learner Lab. You can see this is the window where once you are enrolled into a Learner Labs session, you can start the Learner Lab under module and you come to this interface. As mentioned earlier, right, to start this lab, you will need to click Start Lab. And if you do this for the first time, as we have mentioned earlier, it may take a bit longer. If this is second time or later that you are working on this, then it should start pretty soon. And you wait for the symbol on the upper left here for the AWS from yellow to turn to green, like what you see here. It's a sign that the AWS environment is ready for us to use. So let's click on the AWS symbol and let's go into the management console. So for this exercise, we will go into EC2, and from there we will look at how we can create a cluster with 3 different instances. As you look at my dashboard, you see I already have 3 running, which is the running cluster that I have. I'll create a new cluster so that you can see how we create it step by step. The first thing we would like to explore is actually go into the security group, because this will be one feature that I think we will need to use for this exercise. I have created this AMI called SunU-Hadoop and put it under North Virginia, and you see it's a Hadoop-Image version 1.2. If I make newer version, I'll update it accordingly. And this will be the image you can install, and Hadoop has been configured for you to do basic introduction to Hadoop exercises. So what you need to do now, if you're following this instruction, click Launch Instance from AMI. And you see you come to this interface where for demo purposes, we call it Demo Hadoop. Okay. And for my class, you may want to put the class code inside, like IST3134. I think that's okay. And we'll keep the Hadoop image as default. And you can also choose an appropriate instance type, especially if you're using the free tier, then maybe a T2 micro will do. Using the AWS Academy Learner Lab, you have no worry because you have that $100 credit, but I think we don't have to overkill, so a T2 micro will be good enough for this moment. If you're using the Learner Lab, by default, Vault key is already there, and I'll encourage you to use Vault key, as this exercise and video is for students who are using the Learner Lab, so let's stick to this. In other video, I will probably show you how you can create your own key pair and also use that for remote login using SSH. The rest you can keep it standard, and here is where you have to select the security group we have just created earlier. So let's scroll down and look for my Hadoop cluster, and now you can see my cluster will use this default security group. And finally, you can decide how big the storage should be, and we'll keep it to standard 15 GB as a start. So you may want to review all the settings that you have selected. I'm pretty sure what I have is correct. You can also look at the summary here. And for our exercises with Hadoop, just set it to 3 instances and you're ready to kick it off. So let's try this. And the launch will be pretty fast. You can see less than a few seconds is already being launched. So let's go back to the dashboard. You see I have 3 new demo Hadoop here. For previous tests, I have already made 3, and we're going to replicate this. So I'm going to turn this into master demo Hadoop. I'm going to give the name to slave 2. The idea is we can create 3 identical servers and configure that as one as master node and 2 more as slave nodes or the worker nodes, and this will be our default setting. You can see as we spin it off, we will have the IPs assigned, and the next thing we need to do is to take note of the private IP. So let's look at the instance summary. You can see the public IP has been assigned, and we also have the private IP addresses here. So what we'll do next, using this environment, we'll click on master demo, we'll click on connect, and here we have the choice of logging in as, for example, root. Since this is local access, it's actually okay, but for our exercises, let's learn how to log in as Ubuntu. So once you get in, you can see it will try to establish this. While waiting, you can go back, make sure you have the private IPs ready. You can see it is still initializing the check, but the instances are already running. So I have master node, and I'm going to copy the master IP. You can see now the terminal is ready. What we need to do next is to use sudo nano /etc/host. I repeat, we will type this command sudo nano /etc/host. That means I want Ubuntu to have the special right to go in and edit nano with, of course, the super user access, and we want to modify the host file. What you see in the host file will be like this, especially if you use this AMI. So what we'll do is we will remove the existing master IP, right? It lags a little bit here. Maybe the check is going on. Oh, I think that's where we got too much. Okay, so it's time to paste the IP like this, and we'll repeat for the next 2 more hosts. So now let's go to slave 1, and this is the IP address. You want to copy it and move over, and same thing, remove the IP address and paste it. And finally, let's go to the third and the final node, that's slave 2, and similarly let's remove them, and you're done. So at this point, I would recommend you to also copy this whole thing. Okay, you can use Ctrl+C, you can right click and copy this text, and to be safe, you may want to even save it on a notepad or a text editor. I have it in clipboard, and you may want to now save the file. Okay, let me repeat that. To do this, once you're done, you press Ctrl+X, and it asks you whether you want to save the buffer. You say yes, pressing Y, and once done, it will ask you for the name of the host, and you can press enter and it will overwrite. To double check, let's reopen the file, and you can see the IP addresses are indeed the one you have updated, and that's a good sign. When we are done, you can safely close this, or maybe you want to log out, and we're going to repeat this step with the slave node. So click slave 1, click connect, and again log in as Ubuntu. And very soon we'll get this access here, similar to the previous step, sudo nano and etc host. Since you have copied the 3 lines, you can directly make a paste, and you can see the new ones are already there. The rest you may want to just remove line by line. And to do it quickly, you can press Ctrl K, you remove the whole line. If not, just press delete, you still be able to remove it. Once you're done, press Ctrl X, say yes to the question, and now press enter to confirm the file name is the same, and you are done with slave 1. Now you can log out, close this window, and let's go back to the dashboard, and we'll repeat the step with slave 2. Finally, same thing, Ubuntu, and press connect. Now you're working on slave 2. And similarly, what do we do first? We will type sudo nano etc, right? Sudo nano etc host. Remember the S. Similarly, go to next line. You can now paste, and you want to remove the older lines. Now you press Ctrl X to save, press yes to confirm, and press enter to write to /etc//host. Before we exit, what we can do now is also to test whether things are working. So what we can do is first, let's try to ping from slave 2 directly to master node. If your configuration is correct, you see ping will give you response. And the response means 2 things. Okay, you can press Ctrl C to break to stop that ping. First, if there's a response, means the IP address has been set correctly, therefore it is possible to reach master node from the slave 2. You can try this again with slave 1, and you see also reply. The second thing that you want to observe or obtain from this observation is, if the ping has reply, means your security group works too. If your security group does not include the all traffic from the same security group, you will not get any reply from any of the nodes in the cluster. So with this step, we have successfully configured all 3 nodes, and they also can contact each other based on the configuration on the AMI itself. So let's exit this interface, and we will now do the final thing. Let's go into master mode and connect. And this round we want to enter as Ubuntu. At this interface, you can already explore the unit. Now you are in master node. Okay, you can see the bottom, and I would like you to also now either look into the lab sheet I prepared, or you can follow the link and go to the next video to see how you can initialize and start your Hadoop cluster for the first time. So with that, I'll end this video. I'll see you in the next video.